My name is Richard Houston, and I am going to take you on a journey through my presentation of neuroscience on the brain and professional development. There are many new techniques that have come out, most presented in Benedict Carey's book, How We Learn, and they're quite beneficial for any teacher in a classroom to help students utilize more of their brain power. Henry Mowison had really bad epileptic seizures, and doctors in the 50s took out a part of his brain, which included the hippocampus, which does store a lot of memory. They thought it was the only place that memory was stored, but he could still attain new skills like tracing a star or using a walker, but after the operation, he couldn't remember new names, faces, facts, or experiences. But it does show that the brain is very multi-talented. Neuroscience shows that the brain can have many choices, but learns best by discrimination. Um, the brain is a organ that learns temporally, and the information it gets, it discerns it, discriminates it, what it needs and what it doesn't need, and then it does um, it adds it later on to other parts of puzzles that you're working on. And you'll see in this presentation, it does come a few more times. I picked a tiger because they think very quick. Wallace's stages of control is preparation, incubation, illumination, and verification. This is how we come to answers after we're stymied. And you prepare for it, and then you have everything you need on the table, and then you get stuck. You leave it alone. You incubate it. Your brain is going to mull it over, and after a while, you'll get the illumination stage, and you'll realize it. And then the last stage of verification, you're going to double check it, and this is what your brain does. Everyone loves cliffhangers. Your attention level's at an all-time high, and this is why when you're doing long-term projects, you want to keep that attention level there. And so if you explain your project and then do something else, the students are going to want to finish it. And that's what they do in TV shows. They keep you hanging on. This was an experiment done having women do 3 different kinds of serves. One group did block serves, 36 of the same kind in each session. The next group did serial, which they practiced all 3 serves in a row. And the last group was random, where they could do any serves they wanted, but no more than 2 in a row. And the test of this was that they switched the side where they would test them and to throw them all off. And the ones that had practiced randomly had the best scores. So the brain adapted. Um, and that just shows how strong of an organ it is. A young college teacher was not satisfied with critiques by her students, and so she felt that they needed more incubation time to dissect scholarly articles. And so she then made them write in journals, and they had to answer questions like, was this expert consistent in his her opinions? And then they had to respond like a scholarly critic. And then so as a result, they took an expert persona, an authoritative presence capable of contributing to the scholarly exchange. So she basically molded them into scholarly critiquers. Interleaving mixes related but distinct material during study. So you just kind of jump around. And music teachers, they switch from scales to theory to pieces all at one time. And the brain is so prolific that it adapts. A scientist slash pilot wanted to see if beginning pilots could read flight gauges like a reflex, because that's what flying basically is. And he found out with this experiment, which is shown here, that you could actually learn on the positioning of your airplane by glancing at all these 6 dials. And it worked. And other fields like dermatology and science, it's also helpful in those where you can identify skin lesions and rashes by like a chart similar to this, as well as chemical bonds between molecules. So to be right away, when you are trained this way, it's easier to read the context of the situation. These PLMs are very helpful. I know there's a few that I'm going to do in my classroom. Um, and people just don't even realize that you do learn better in mixed study when you mix it up for the brain. Um, and this um, study by Cornell and Bork shows that. A panel of psychologists got together to benefit education, and they said that practice testing and distributed practice receives the highest marks to benefit learners. These are these techniques that are in my presentation, such as PLMs and the random choosing of instruction. These benefit learners, and this shows the capability of the brain. Teachers were gathered together to get their input about what they thought about neuroscience. And they're quite aware of it, and most of us feel that it's a good thing. And the comments are amazing. Um, Teachers not learning about neuroscience is like being a mechanic and not understanding the engine. Um, I think we're in the technological age, and I know that teachers in education are going to realize that there's a lot of techniques out there that take advantage of the brain's strengths.